This past week, I worked for SiriusXM Masters Radio, and I was assigned to the range. So I was out there on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I came back on Saturday to watch the tournament. So I had some observations that I'd like to share with you. I'm going to start with Hideki Matsuyama on 15. I was watching at home, and I saw him pull out that iron to hit over the water on 15. I immediately thought, with a 4-shot lead, hey, great time to lay up. You're 230 yards away. Very big possibility you could hit it in the water in front. Didn't think too much about it hitting over the back, but I've seen it happen quite a few times. Anyway, Xander Schauffele said the same thing in his interview afterwards, where when he saw him go for it, that was probably the best thing that could happen to him, which gave him a chance, he thought, to maybe contend to win this tournament. Now, it turns out that Hideki made actually a really good 6. He was in a really tough spot and got it up and down for a 6, and then went on to win. Xander hit it in the water on 16, which I think looked really bad on TV. Wasn't that far off of a shot. The pin was cut way over to the left. It's really just barely off. But that was the tournament. And it was certainly exciting to be there. We had good weather all the time that I was there. And I saw some amazing things on the range. One of them was Rory McIlroy. And I've never seen Rory McIlroy this lost. He hit the ball terrible on the range. I also went out and watched him play because he played with Xander during the tournament. And Xander's working with a good friend of mine, Derek Ueda, as his putting coach. I'm going to talk about some putting here in just a moment. But let's go back to McIlroy. On the range, he was working with Pete Cowan, who was a great teacher, but they weren't connecting. I wanted to show you what they were working on. He was doing this little drill over and over, trying to keep his hands in and getting the club out. So there was a lot of work here on this section of the swing. But then when he hit the ball, one was to the left, one was to the right, not many straight ones. And, you know, I could see he was really trying to learn, trying to get this into his swing. And then when I went out and watched him during the tournament, he shot a pair of 75s, but they were tough 75s. He putted really good. One example, when I watched him on the back 9 on Friday, he hit a terrible drive off 10, meaning a miss hit. It went straight down the middle, but it was super short. He was like 80 behind the other guys, behind Schauffele. And he had a hanging downhill lie, hitting a long iron, probably from 230 or 240. And it was a half shank he hit, straight right, went into the trees, lost ball, into the bushes that are way right of the 10th green. Then his next iron, he hit quite a bit short of the green, had a tough pitch down short with the pin all the way in the back. So it didn't even come close to hitting a good shot on his 4th shot. So his 5th shot, he hits on the green about 20 feet away, knocks it in for a double bogey. Then on 11, he hits a massive hook. There's big pine trees to the left, but it went left of the pine trees into the bushes. From the bushes, he got in and scraped some kind of shot back out into the fairway, hit that on the green, and made another 20-footer for a par there. On 12, pin was way over on the right. He hit a shot way left with a hook. So you could just tell, I mean, I'm sure all of you could see that when they showed McIlroy. He wasn't shown too often, but you could tell, obviously missing the cut by quite a bit, that he was way off. My recommendation to Rory would be to get back to Ireland, take some time away, get back home and work with his teacher back home and see if he could get ready for the PGA, because it's held at Kiawah Island, where the last time that tournament was at Kiawah Island, which I was there with Keegan Bradley, he won by 8. I mean, he just tore it up. So it's a place that he really loves. I want to share some other things I saw out on the range. For sure, a lot of this, TrackMan. TrackMan everywhere. Now, a few guys were using the quad, and they were using it mostly for yardages. to get their yardages. But a lot of them had their teachers and coaches there. Now, nobody was working on their swing more than Justin Rose. Now, he had alignment rods out. He had a plane line for his golf swing. He would put it right there, and he wanted to take the club outside this and then outside that plane alignment rod, and he did it nonstop. He was also working really hard on manipulating the club, turning the club and rotating and trying to get his right arm out away from him. He was working with Sean Foley. So when I watched him on the range, really working hard on his swing, I didn't think it was going to be too good. Sure enough, he shot 65 the first round, had a 4-shot lead. But then after that, he pretty much struggled and just got it up and down and thought his way through the golf tournament to get a top 10 finish. But what a player he is. It's been fun to watch Justin Rose. He works on his swing more than anybody, and you wouldn't think that you could do that right before a tournament. So normally you'd have to be off a lot before you were doing that. So I saw both McIlroy and Rose working really hard on their technique right before the Masters. Now the other guys, mostly no. They were just working on their different shot shapes and patterns. DeChambeau was interesting. He was out with Chris Como, and on day one of the Masters, again, I was reporting for SiriusXM on what was going on. I saw Bryson hitting quite a few fades, mostly with his fairway metal. So when Como came off the range, I got him on radio, and then I talked to him. But the question I asked him, is that a shot he's trying to hit for one of the holes? He said, no, that's not a shot he's trying to hit. He's trying to hit draws. And he was a little off today. And sure enough, he shot, I think, 75 or 76 the first day. So he really wasn't on his game. He did not have his A game for sure. He did shoot a 67 in the second round, and you know, had a decent tournament, but I think he was pretty disappointed with his play. Now, the other things I saw was the putting green right next to the range right there. So there was a lot of cool stuff on the putting green. And one of the things I saw was this slot trainer idea, where you have a little slot where the ball fits in, and the ball has to travel a certain distance straight. So I saw quite a bit. Derek Ueda was a tremendous short game teacher, putting coach. He was trained by my great friend, Carl Welty. Carl and I worked together for 50 years. So the ideas that we use here at my golf school are right directly from Carl Welty. Derek's doing the same thing with Schauffele. And he had these putts set up in different spots to make sure he's getting the ball started straight and aimed straight. So it's called the slot trainer that we use here. I also saw the chalk line being used. So they'd snap a chalk line. Justin Rose was doing that. I saw Spieth doing that, and quite a few other guys were using the chalk line. Justin Thomas was using nothing. He would just putt from quite a bit from different spots. Now, I did see two really amazing putting grips, and one was, I better do it with my iron, I need a longer one, was Kuchar attached the putter grip to his right arm. Now everybody, and Kuchar started off their left arm, and they would putt this way with an arm lock. I've never seen anybody do it this way. So when Kuchar was putting, he would lock it here, and then he'd go through, and it had kind of a high finish, and lock it on his right arm. Now you obviously can't have any loft on your putter to do that, because your shaft is starting behind the golf ball. But it looked like he putted really good on the putting green. Now the other guy was Will Zalatoris, who had just this incredible tournament. I loved watching him hit balls on the range. He looks so solid. He's got a tremendous amount of speed. He's got about a 25-inch waist, weighs about, I don't know, 140 pounds maybe. He looked like the skinniest person in the world. He looked like a one iron sitting there and just ripping shots, and he played so great. But with his putting, he arm locks like this and then claw grips it. And he's got a long putter, and it's a really weird looking stroke. It looks really strange, kind of an odd way to hold the putter. But Webb Simpson does the same thing. Now, they're both friends, both went to Wake Forest. I also had the observation of, like, where were these guys from that finished at the top of the leaderboard? Hideki from Japan. And then you've got Schauffele from San Diego. And then you had Spieth from the University of Texas. You've got Justin Thomas from the University of Alabama. You've got John Rahm from Spain, went to Arizona State. What you don't see is like one place where guys are going to. A lot of guys don't finish college or don't even go to college. So those are just interesting observations. I could go through the whole list. Another thing that I thought was really cool is these players who have their fathers as their main coach. Now that would be Hideki Matsuyama his whole life. He does have another caddy and coach that are working with him right now, but his dad taught him his whole life. Schauffele, his dad Stefan, was there every second of the tournament with him. Justin Thomas, we know whenever you see Justin Thomas, his dad is not far behind. They don't get separated much. And there's lots of examples. Bryson DeChambeau's father was a golf professional. Adam Scott's dad is a golf professional. Tiger Woods and Earl Woods, that's a famous father-son duo. So, I could go on and on. Ryan Moore, his dad is a golf professional, was his main teacher. So it's pretty interesting how you see these great players who had this tremendous influence, and some still do. Sergio Garcia's dad was with him all the time, same thing. Anyway, those are some of my observations. One last thing is I was also near the pitching green, which has 3 bunkers around it at Augusta, and I saw almost everybody come over and hit bunker shots prior to going out to play. And there were deep bunkers like you see on the golf course, so they did some nice practice there. Probably hit at least 5 minutes, some guys 10 minutes of bunker shots, and then around the green, it's formed with uphill and downhill lies, so you could hit the shots that you might face out on the golf course at Augusta. I had a great time reporting in for SiriusXM. Great time spending all of that time on the range. I was there from 8 to 2 each day, and then afterwards I went out and went to every hole to watch the guys play out in the tournament. I think I came away with a lot of great stuff, a lot of good things I'm going to go over with my teachers here at our golf schools, and hope some of these ideas will help you with your golf game.